Hey guys, welcome to a Madcap 3D tutorial. Today we're going to be going over how to create a simple cup and the tools used to create that cup. So let's get started. First of all, we want to go to Create, Polygon Primitives, and we want to create a cylinder. So at the moment the cylinder has too many subdivisions on it, so we want to go under Inputs, Subdivision Access. It's set about 20 now, let's go maybe to about 12. So that gives us a few less faces to deal with, which is good, and we're going to be smoothing it later on anyway. So we don't need as many faces when we're creating it. So at the moment for this cup I'm not using any reference images to create it. Cups are all different shapes and sizes, so usually reserve that for when I create more complex objects, but today we're just gonna eyeball it. I think you guys can definitely handle that. And cool, we're gonna make a lip for the top of the cup for the hole. So let's go under Inputs, Polycylinder. Let's go to Subdivision Caps, change it from 1 to 2. There we go. This gives us a little ring on top that we can scale out. So let's just left click on the object. You can push R to scale, or click over here on the Tools tab, and let's just scale this out to about here is fine. And as you can see on the object, we've got a few triangles on the bottom and on the top. Usually for when you're creating objects in Maya, you don't want the triangles on the object. I mean, it's alright if you're chucking the object maybe into a game or a game engine, but generally you just want quads, which is a four-sided face for all your objects in Maya. Otherwise, sometimes in rendering or when you export it to Mudbox or ZBrush, which are sculpting programs, you're going to have problems with your model, and it's better to sort it out sooner rather than later. So we'll sort out these edges now and we'll turn them into quads, and I'm going to show you how to do that. So what we want to do is spacebar, go to the top view, press 4 for a wireframe, and let's just marquee select these edges here. Back into orthographic view, and we should have selected all these faces that we want to delete. Right. When you're deleting these edges, make sure you don't push the delete key on your keyboard, as this will cause you problems later on. You want to have to go up to Edit Mesh, and you want to go delete edge / vertex. This does it properly and doesn't cause problems in the future when you continue to model. So at the moment now, this face is pretty blank. It's got quite a few sides, and we can't have that. We need to turn this into quite a few quads just to fix that up. So what we want to do is go down to Mesh Tools, and we want to use the Multi-Cut tool. So select that, and we're going to turn this into quads. So let's just select the edges here, known as the vertex. Select, enter. Do it again from the other side, enter. And from left to right, enter. One more time. So as you can see, I've got all quads now, all faces with 4 sides. Even these ones here that look similar to triangles still have 4 sides. And let's continue and do this on the bottom. So again, Edit Mesh. Mesh Tools, Multi-Cut tool, and let's join those lines up again. Usually this doesn't take too long depending on how complicated your model is. Click back the normal selection tool. That's looking fine for now. So what we want to do is now select these faces, and we want to extrude them down. So let's just select these faces. Always when you're selecting faces, or when I'm selecting faces, I want to make sure I don't select any other unnecessary faces, because when you're extruding it, it's going to stuff up your model. Easy way to do this is just hitting 4 on your keyboard. It switches your model to a wireframe, and you just quickly check. that's looking good so far. So we want to extrude this down to make the hole for the cup. So let's go edit mesh, go into the faces section, and we want to go extrude. We want to get this a little bit accurate, so let's go to the side view, press 4 for wireframe, and let's extrude this down. Not all the way, we want to leave a little gap at the bottom. Here we go. It's looking about right. There we go, so we've got our quads there, so that's fine for now. So later on we're going to be smoothing this object. To get a smooth preview of your object, you go right click, object mode, select your object, and you can just push 3. So at the moment it's looking more like a little sake cup. We don't want that, we want a proper cup for coffees or teas. Maybe putting it on a desk as one of your props. So how we're going to do that, we need to make this edges more defined on the cup instead of being all smooth around. So to do this, all we have to do is add in an edge loop. So you want to go to Mesh Tools, insert edge loop, options box, and we can just do relative distance from the edge. So what we want to do, add an edge loop to the top. This will help define the edge and keep it a bit straighter. We want to add one at the top here, on the side, usually on all the edges, 90-degree angles. You want to keep it straight. On the inside here, and then probably one at the bottom, not too close because we maybe want it to curve around a little bit. So we'll move that edge up a little bit here, and let's go back to object mode, press 3, see what it looks like. Much better. As you can see down here, we've got a bit of problem, so we haven't added in the edge loop. Let's add in another edge loop down the bottom here. It's a good way to test pressing 3, seeing where you got problems and sorting out how to fix it. So let's go Mesh Tools and insert edge loop again. Let's drag it down to the bottom, checking edge loop here, and another edge loop out to the side. Press 3 again, go back to object mode, see how that's looking. Yep, that's fine for now. Cool, so let's add a handle onto this guy. So what we want to do is add an edge loop into here. I mean, there are many different ways to create a cup. I'm sure there are quite a few tutorials out there, but this is just my personal preference and my personal way to create this cup. So you want to double click on the settings here, or you can go to Mesh Tools, insert edge loop, click the options box again. We want to go to multiple edge loops, and let's change from 2 to 1, and wherever we click we'll create an edge loop right in the center of our object. It's getting ready to make the handle for the cup. So let's right click, select face, select the 2 faces, and for this we want to extrude the faces, but we want them to be separated when we extrude them. Unfortunately in Maya 2015 they don't have that quick option anymore that I know of. If they do, feel free to tell me, but at the moment we're going to have to go to Windows, Settings / Preferences. I'm going to scroll down to Modeling here. We want to untick Keep Faces Together for now. Let's keep that up so we don't forget it. So let's go again to Edit Mesh, and then go to the Faces section, Extrude Face, click the blue box. So a box appears in the center here, extrude it down. It's a bit wide, so we want to extrude that down again. There we go. That's alright. Cool. and just tick the options box for keep faces together and push save. Cool, so what we want to do now is right click and go to vertex, and we just want to move these apart a little bit. Just make sure you don't select any other vertices, wireframe. If you have vertices in random places like this and you want to deselect them, all you need to do is click Control and left drag marquee, deselect everything and keeps what you want selected. So let's push 5, shade that up again, and we want to scale these out a bit. And we want to move these up, creating the handle of the cup. Eyeballing it, just changing it around a bit. Just play around just to get the best result. Just marking select, deselecting faces that are vertices that I don't want, sorry, and that's about right. So we can go ahead and select the face, select these two faces, and we can just push delete. You can push delete on your keyboard for these. So what we want to do for these faces here is make a wedge, or sorry, a bridge. Use a bridge. I'll explain how to do this in a second. Right. So you want to select the edges that you want to bridge. So we want to bridge this edge to this edge here. So all we need to do is go to Edit Mesh, Bridge Options box. Maybe we can set this to 5. We'll see what that's like. We want a smoothing path and a curve to create the round handle. And push apply. See what that looks like. Yeah, there we go. 5 should be enough. We can close that. Go back to object mode. Let's see what this looks like. It's getting there. As you can see, when we push 3, when you smooth it, it's got these kind of fanned out, it kind of smooths into here. We don't want that. We want to harden up the edges a bit. Maybe keep the roundness. Depends what you want. So again, to keep the hardness around the corners, you want to go to Edge, Mesh Tools, and go to Insert Edge Loop. We'll change it back to relative distance from edge, and we'll add those in. So we just want to get it pretty close to the edge. And one down here. Across here. And let's just quickly see what this looks like. Bit better. Just a bit of pinching. We might want to fix that. Let's undo those last two that we created. Let's just see what this looks like. I mean, if there's a bit of pinching, you can always move the edges back a bit. So I'm just Control Zing here. It's all about testing in this program, just getting it right. So let's insert edge loop again. Let's create a bit further away, just so we don't get that pinching effect. See what it looks like. That was a bit better. So that's pretty much how you make a simple cup. I mean, you can change the vertices depending on whether you want the cup to be a different shape, or whether you want to add a base to the cup, a rim. You can add that if you want to. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Don't forget to like if you liked the video, if it was helpful, subscribe, and if you have any suggestions or want me to cover something else, or have any feedback on how I teach, I'd like to hear it from you guys. So I hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and I'll see you next time.